The fault is not in our stars. April, the month of colors, fertility, and joy, was celebrated by all creatures. Birds were singing the songs of love and beauty. Moon was startling everyone with its brightness. Life was pouring itself into every soul, but there was a fault in Abraham's stars. His life's tree was shading its leaves of hope, confidence, and the worst, talent. It had been a year that he lost his wife Hazel. She was his only inspiration to write scripts, fiction, prose, poems, and whatnot. They both witnessed the apex of their career once, together. But after her death, Abraham left writing. He was so much busy celebrating his grief that he gave up on his talent and creativity without realizing that he is losing his identity. He was losing the precious pearls he had, moon, stars. He and his grief were now best friends in all sleepless nights. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars. He closed his book with pouring eyes. He got throwback flashes of all the memories he had with Hazel. The days when they both used to exchange the books of Shakespeare, highlighting their favorite lines of the book, during their college time. The book he was reading was the last gift from Hazel to him. And those lines were highlighted. It's been a year, Abraham. For God's sake. Come back to like. Minhaj cried. Minhaj was his and Hazel's only best friend and the owner of an acknowledged production house in Hollywood. Try to galvanize yourself. Try to come back to your life and work. Everyone is waiting for your masterpieces. Minhaj continued, can a being make honey without the essence of a flower? Tell me, can a daffodil bloom in autumn? No. Then how could you expect me to live when my soul has been abducted? No. Minhaj, I will never hold the pen again. Abraham said in a serious tone, but... Minhaj tried to say something. Oh please, Minhaj. I'm not here to discuss these things. Just drop it off or I shall leave. Abraham interrupted. 2 days later, when he took the newspaper to read, he got appalled by the news. The position he held, the status quo he enjoyed for years, was given to another writer by his best friend Minhaj, for whom he worked all those years. It was his writings that made him a big cheese in the industry. His stories and his characters earned a special space among the hearts of the audience, and now, Minhaj Production House was launching another scriptwriter for their films. He could not understand his feelings. He felt jealous, but it was unreasonable as he himself denied writing ever again in his life. He found himself in a void. He was surprised by the way he reacted. He felt anger for Minhaj as well. The days passed, his frustration escalated with the coming days, with each spreading news about the project. He abhorred this new writer Elif. He saw her amateur. The negative image of Elif made home in Abraham's mind. For sure, he was unable to shake her off from his mind. What would you say about the renowned and acknowledged film and novel writer Abraham, who formerly held this position? A journalist asked from Elif. Abraham was surprised to hear this question on his TV screen. His anger, as well as curiosity, emerged high. How the hell this filthy creature could ask the question regarding me from this naive girl, he cried. But deep down Abraham was curious to know her views about him. The question was equally intrusive to Elif as well. Don't mistake to compare me with Abraham just because of the job I'm given. The respect for Abraham was lucid in her words. He is the person I got my inspiration from. His novels. His film. Those just compelled me to write. His words mesmerize you. Like an incantation, which besieges you in its spell. You can't even differentiate between fiction and reality. You get involved in the stories. It takes you to some other world. She took a thoughtful pause. And then said, I don't know why he is not writing. His fans crave to read his words. Abraham was stunned by her words. He was now taking interest in her interview. What are your thoughts regarding your profession? Another question was raised. I think, A writer is a person who never dies. He leaves his essence in every word and every soul that reads those words. A writer has the power to move your soul. He can bestow eternity to any person. That's why it is said that if a writer falls in love with you, you can never die. Her words fascinated everyone. Abraham couldn't put his eyes off from television. Her words were resonating in his ears. If a writer falls in love with you, you can never die. The same words Hazel used to say to him. He could not sleep the whole night. But I could not save Hazel. I could not bestow her eternity. I never wrote a word for her since she died. He despised himself. After 1.5 years he was holding the pen, looking at the crescent moon from his window. He felt motivated to write about.
And away we go. The ache for home lives in all of us, the safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. Maya Angelou, my backpack is ready, and I have my thermos of tea. It's magic and will refill itself continuously. Come along with me as I journey to the 10 places I would most like to see. We will ride by train wherever possible to each of the locations. Money is not an issue since I hit the jackpot in the national lottery. We will taste food, see sights, take photographs, and leave footprints. Ready? Our first stop is Machu Picchu, 7,000 feet above sea level, which we reach by luxury Pullman train. Lunch and dinner is included. I chose the lamb cannelloni with spring greens and Mara's beef for dinner. Afternoon tea is in Machu Picchu. How exciting! Fresh scones with clotted cream and raspberry jam. While enjoying the tea we are serenaded by native drummers and pan flute players. The music lifts our spirits. Gratuities are not included, but I have that covered. Truly, an experience of a lifetime. After petting the alpacas and looking in their eyes, we leave Peru and head to Japan. First stop is Itoyakado. There are several of these, like Target in the United States. The rooftop is where we are headed. Pinball games, soft serve ice cream, and chicken teriyaki on a stick. The bathtub in our guest house is incredible. We sit and water comes up to our necks. I relish bath time since I love the water. One of the neat things about Tokyo is that everyone rides their bicycles. There is no room for cars since there are so many people, over 8 million, so we don't even need a driver's license to get around the city. We'll have some delicious soba, buckwheat noodles, and vegetables in broth for supper, but mustn't forget to slurp, it is discourteous otherwise. While here we will observe a traditional Japanese tea ceremony and maybe buy a kimono or two. Japan was terrific, but now let's head to Virginia Beach where we can look at the waves while dining in style. I can hear music box dancer coming through the speakers, music to soothe the soul for sure. We can hear the waves when we open the door to the balcony from our hotel room. We might take a side trip up to Chincoteague and see the nearby Assateague Island, home to a special breed of horses. Now we'll board a train and head down to Fort Morgan, Alabama in the United States. One of the grocery stores has all manner of cakes and other delicious desserts that they sell by the slice or whole. And the same chain has Mediterranean salad bar with vine leaves, olives, fresh mozzarella, and lots more. Even if we are cooking in the guest house, we can accent it with these goodies. If the flies are bad, we can douse ourselves with lotion like the locals use. Fish baskets are made from daily caught fish and is served with lemon. Most of the time it is grouper and is delicious. We can have tea or coffee on the balcony of a morning while chatting to the little gecko who visits and catch the sunset over the ocean. I am reminded of the song, Southern Nights. The air smells so fresh and clean here, it is very refreshing. We board an Amtrak train and get off as close as we can to Garden of the Gods in southern Illinois with a limo ride the rest of the way, of course. Lunch will be chuckwagon patties and for dinner, beans and cornbread. One of the most breathtaking formations is Camel Head Rock, and yes, you can walk out onto it, but be careful, especially if it has been raining. Nestled in the Shawnee National Forest, you can really soak up the energy of the ancient ones. Calm, peaceful, and awe-inspiring. The trails take about an hour to walk and there are benches. The Garden of the Gods is over 3,000 acres, so we need comfortable walking shoes and lots of memory in our digital cameras. We leave Garden of the Gods and indeed the United States and fly to Cairo in Wales. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote about it in The Hound of the Baskervilles, and there was a curate whose diaries were published after he died, Francis Kilvert. Let's look at the cemeteries and newspaper offices before we leave. I might find more ancestors. The earliest one I have was baptized in Cairo in 1717. While here we can try leek soup, Welsh cakes, divine morsels with currants, and of course rarebit, real cheesy. Another plane ride now and we land in Eng-Viet, California. We need to be a bit careful here because the volcano could become active. It is a magical place, the second highest peak in the Cascades. I want to try and find the secret city known as Telos. We'll keep an open mind and enjoy the beautiful scenery anyway. I've booked a table for us at Lily's where we can have eggs Benedict, beet salad, and decadent chocolate cake for dessert. I have everything including tips covered. Native tribes refer to Eng-Viet as a region of peace. That sounds ideal. California was great, but now let's head to Durban in South Africa. We'll have bunny chow for lunch and then in.